Hey, thanks for stopping by.
Okay. In the mid 2000s, Robert Kirkman worked on two comic book titles about zombies, both of which would go on to get greenlit for television adaptations, both of which were a part of larger connected universes. One of those zombie titles is one of the greatest pieces of fiction all time, and the other is not. We read the one that's not. So hello there, and thank you so much for visiting your local comic, Sean. I'm Sean, and today Jared has stopped by once again to talk Marvel Zombies. If this is your
Hello.
first time listening or watching, visiting your local Comic Sean is a podcast where we normally talk comics in a book club style format. The titles guests and I are reading can be found on my socials at local Comic Sean, well ahead of new episodes discussing them, and new episodes drop every Monday at midnight. For audio listeners, the podcast can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. For those who prefer video, the podcast can also be found on YouTube. Please feel free to follow or subscribe on your platforms of choice. If you like the show and want to support it, I encourage you to subscribe to our Patreon. Subscribing gives you the opportunity to see behind the scenes content, learn how the podcast gets made, and or gain access to resources for both reading and digital creation. Thank you to all who subscribe to this show in any way, shape, or form. I truly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get started and talk Marvel Zombies. So
Yep.
Jared, when you were last on, what did we discuss?
Um, we talked about House of House of X and Powers of Ten,
Yeah,
which
which
was
a
very different.
very good combined two miniseries. And when we wrapped that episode, I went, all right, so for coming back, what do you want to read? And you picked Marvel Zombies.
That I
Because
did.
do
That
you
I
have
did.
all the trades? Because I remember you holding up the books
Okay.
or sending me a photo of the books you have.
I I have the omnibus, but I didn't buy this. This was given to me
That
by
is
my
a big book.
one of my brother's friends from high school who's like very into comic books. He gave it to me because I think it was like a gift from like his ex girlfriend or something, and he was like trying
It
to
was
get
one
rid
of
of it.
those.
He was like, "Oh, would you like this?" I was like, "Sure." It's a free book. I
You
like
gotta
books.
love those gifts that are like, oh yeah, an ex got it for me and I don't want it anymore. I have like a Lego White House from someone who's like, yeah, my ex gave this to me and I don't want it. And I had like a Lego White House when I was younger that broke. And so I was like, sure, I'll take that Lego Lighthouse or White House. So yeah. So you have the omnibus, which I didn't realize was a big book.
Yes.
Which books are collected in that one?
Okay. I think I gotta open it up because I was looking at it because it's not even in order of like I think
Hmm.
the year that it came out. Um, so it has Marvel Zombies Dead Days, Marvel
Okay.
Zombies Prime 8, which is like the Marvel apes stuff.
Hmm.
So like they're all apes. Um and I think it's like I didn't read it. I think it's like the apes versus the Marvel zombies, but
Nice.
this was
I
out
didn't
of the
even know
scope
that
of
book
this
existed.
discussion. There's there's a lot. Like I read this as a when I was in like high school, but I don't remember what most of these are. There's Marvel Zombies Evil Evolution. There's Ultimate Fantastic Four. There's like four or five issues of Ultimate Fantastic Four
So
in
that's
here.
something that I didn't know before reading this. Marvel Zombie spins out of Ultimate Fantastic Four.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
That would explain a lot. Um, and then it has Marvel Zombies. Then it has like the rest of the Ultimate Fantastic Four stuff that's in here. Black Panther 28 to 30 from like 2005, which is when him and Storm were married and they were on the Fantastic Four
Hmm.
instead of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman.
Hmm.
Um, I have no familiarity with that at all though. Then it's Marvel Zombies 2, Marvel Zombies Return, Marvel Zombies 3, 4, 5, and then Supreme.
There are
Marvel
so many
zombies.
Marvel zombies, and I know even after that omnibus, they came out with stuff in like 2020 or 2022, something like Marvel Zombies Reborn or something.
Yeah, I wanted to check that out, but
I know I bought
I
the
haven't.
first issue, but we, for this episode, read Marvel Zombies 1, Marvel Zombies Dead Days, the one shot in between that released between 1 and then Marvel Zombies 2. So the one shot was in between those. We read the two miniseries and that one shot because they are both written by Robert Kirkman, who wrote The Walking Dead and has wrote many, many great stories. Um, and this one. And the both all
Yeah.
the issues are illustrated by Sean Phillips with art with colors by June Chung. So it was a consistent creative team across all the stories and issues we read. Um, so yeah, why don't you give me a little play by play
Play
of the
by
book,
play
Jared?
of the book.
We'll keep it brief
Like the
because
whole,
I know we
all
went
three
very
of them.
long trying to like give every detail. So maybe just like the highlights, the what the books are about.
Um, it's basically just like a zombie movie in the Marvel universe. Like that, as I was reading it again, I was like, a lot of the things that are happening don't make sense, but like it's happening because it has to happen. So it's a zombie movie. It if I guess we'll go in the order that the omnibus has it in. So this has like the Dead Days thing first.
Yeah,
Um,
because that was the prequel one shot.
so that's like when it's like the day that everything goes wrong. Like all the zombies, they just start like attacking the city. Um, it starts with Spider-Man like eating Aunt May and Mary Jane, and then he tries to eat Nova, who makes like a really funny face.
Hmm.
The art in this is very good. Like it's very
There are a lot of fun
very
reaction.
meme friendly.
Yeah,
But yeah, so everybody's like freaking out. It it cuts to something I wasn't expecting, which I didn't remember. It cuts to the X-Men. Um, as little is said about that as possible. I think they're doing their thing. Um, but Magneto shows up. He helps like kill the zombies.
and maybe he was
Apparently,
responsible for the
yeah,
zombie plague, which isn't really explained. Because so, did you read the Ultimate Fantastic Four issues like in the past?
no,
I skimmed
I
them
skipped him.
I skimmed them before this, and it's kind of like what the recap explains of like, oh yeah, this started when Reed Richards tried to pull in a different Reed Richards so they would be able to eat more people and whatnot.
Mm,
And they give like a little bit of an explanation of like the zombie plague arriving on Earth and like the flash in the sky. And the Sentry like had crashed to Earth, but it's like zombified Sentry and he attacks the Avengers, but this book does not cover the Sentry at all. They're just like, ah,
mhm.
yeah, and they imply that Magneto's behind it. I didn't read the issues. I know Magneto is in them, and like he does talk a lot, so maybe he says something about being responsible. But yeah,
I mean, not really. He's just like, oh no, what have I done? And they're
yeah,
like, oh no, we didn't know it would be this bad, but
yeah. He says he made
who
some
knows? We
deal
don't like the
to
humans
like
anyways. But
thin out
like,
humanity, but it's gonna wipe out the whole world.
yeah. And then he like goes down to help out the X-Men. Um, skipping ahead. Then it cuts to New York and Black Panther gets like he gets knocked out by Giant Man because he's infected and he's gonna like save him as like a midnight snack, which is kind of crazy. And like you get to see that. You see
Hmm.
that. Cuts to the Fantastic Four. She-Hulk is a zombie. She ate both of their kids. And then the Invisible Woman blows her head up. Then goes back to New York City. For some reason, it cuts in on like Thor doing some pretty cool stuff. He just bashes a couple zombies' heads in. It's definitely what I like to see Thor doing. Then all of the heroes they like regroup on the helicarrier. The ones who aren't infected, they're trying to figure out what's going on, um, and like come up with a solution. The Avengers that are zombies, it's like the more they eat, the more cognizant they become.
Yeah,
So like
like
they
it
like they can
calms them
talk,
down. They
they can
start to
like
have
calm down.
remorse. Yeah.
Hmm
But then they go
Um,
and eat Jarvis at the mansion because like it was I just to talk some WTF moments in this one issue alone because so this issue I actually read it after Marvel Zombies 1 because like in release order
oh,
it's a prequel issue.
mm,
So, you know, in the first Marvel Zombies miniseries, like Peter after he eats, he feels like the guilt and remorse of eating Mary Jane and Aunt May. So just to talk some WTF moments, book opens up with Peter eating Mary Jane and Aunt May. And I did find Aunt May's dialogue a little funny when she sees that Peter had like devoured Mary Jane because her first words are, "Oh dear." And I'm just
the first thing she says is, "Okay, let's clean that up."
yeah. And she's like, "Oh dear." Pete and then she screams like, "Peter, what have you done?" But like her initial reaction was, "Oh dear." Um that's one WTF moment. Another WTF moment is so
When they're
especially
eating Jarvis.
when they're eating Jarvis and like yeah, so like Hank showed up, Giant Man, Hank Pym, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And he goes, "You're not trying to fight this off?" No, we just kind of thought we'd embrace it." And like Hawkeye's like, "You want to get in on this? Like it's barbecue."
You
And
want
it,
any of this Jarvis meat?
and Giant Man was like, "Yeah, move over. I'm just as long as we're all in agreement." But yeah, something with this issue is like the world's smartest people in this issue are like the most psychotic, sociopathic individuals. Like Giant Man wasn't like taken over yet. He had just been bit. And yeah, he
Yeah.
knocks out T'Challa and goes, "I'm gonna need to eat you later."
He's like, I'm gonna save you for later. Like,
Yeah. And like that's like a thing in
wild.
the first miniseries is he's like cutting
Yep.
off like limbs of T'Challa to be like, I need to eat because that calms me down and then I can
And
think
it
rationally.
helps his brain.
While and then Mr. Fantastic to like close out the Dead Days issue, he decides that the zombies are actually a higher form of life and the next stage of evolution. So he purposely infects every member of the Fantastic Four so that they all turn into zombies and then bite him so he turns into a zombie. And then they basically stop the whole helicarrier evacuation mission. They turn Tony Stark, who was like the one rational, super smart person until he got turned. And yeah, society collapses.
Yep. One funny thing that I noticed when I was reading this was there's a part where it cuts to like a bunch of different like scenes around the world and like Nick Fury he's talking to Doctor Doom and Doctor Doom is like Latveria is immune to this infection, like just leave us alone, we're gonna be
Yeah.
fine, like, and like they're not. They're
I
not.
do
You see
wish
that they're not.
I wish we had gotten like a page of Doctor Doom like getting turned and attacked because it does show in the first miniseries that he becomes a zombie. Um, but they did. I really was hoping to see something like I guess we weren't as safe as I wanted.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, all in all, I wish it was longer. I would have liked to just seen all of that and
You wanted to see the fall.
maybe not what we read, you know? Um, but that's basically like the end of the Dead Days one shot.
Mhm.
Like the zombies, like Mr. Fantastic, like screws everybody over, infects people on the helicarrier. Then they,
Yeah, they
but
could have made it
before,
out if he just
yeah,
didn't ruin the whole
if he
plan.
didn't do that, but
Because
before
Tony
they,
was working on a portal for them to like escape to another dimension. And because they turned Tony like to stop them from getting their hands on that portal, Nick Fury had the remaining heroes destroy it.
mhm.
And then all those heroes get turned and they devour Nick Fury.
And then it's like, all right, who are we gonna eat next?
Yeah.
Um, so skipping just to show you, like the Dead Day stuff is like the first couple pages, and then I had to skip all the way to like here.
Were
Like,
like the Ultimate Fantastic Four issues like
yes,
before
I
it?
had to. I opened the page to this face.
That's some Greg Land art right
Yeah,
there.
I'm familiar.
You know of Greg Land,
I don't care for it.
but you know about him.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of questionable X-Men artwork
Yeah.
that I'm like,
Yeah, when I
why is
when I
she
was
making
skimming
that face?
when I was skimming through the issues and I saw the art, I went, "Oh, it's Greg Land."
That's also why I didn't really want to read it. I was like,
Yeah. Greg Land does like every symbiote Spider-Man story now. Like anything related to symbiote stuff, he's on. He did like I think both symbiote Spider-Man miniseries that came out in the recent years, as well as the recent Venom War Spider-Man tie-ins. And I'm like, ah, Greg Land.
I think we cut out.
You're frozen
Or
on
did
my
I cut
screen.
out?
There you go, you're back.
Ah, okay. Did I cut out?
Yeah, you're good. You froze. I thought you were in deep pondering mode because you froze like this, and I thought you were like,
Mm,
huh, Greg Land.
no, I don't think about Kirkland that much. Only,
Mm.
only in negative ways. It's like,
So you got to skip everything to get to the first miniseries.
yeah, I had to skip like probably like 100 pages, however much that
Crazy. I know
is.
there's like
Like,
3 or 4 Fantastic Four issues that like are involved.
it's like five, I think.
Mm.
And I don't somehow like the like it ties into like Black Panther and
Yeah, I don't
other
know
things.
about
It's
that.
they fight. I like skimmed it because I was like, why is this in here? They like fight versions of them, but I think it has to be like a version of the zombies in between the first two.
Hmm. Who knows?
It
But it's
doesn't really
main
matter.
it's main 616 Black Panther. It's not
Mm,
Ultimate Black Panther or anything.
yeah, but I don't know if they're also in like another dimension. So it's like they get sent
Hmm.
to another dimension and then they come in from somewhere else
Gotcha.
or what. But
The multiverse.
nobody gets turned into a zombie. No one
Hmm.
important. Um, so the actual Marvel zombie story, it opens up with Magneto. Um, he's
Who's
cornered by like
awesome in
all
that
of the
first issue.
Avengers. I have in my notes Magneto's a boss here. He he because like they're in New York City, so it's all just metal pieces. So he's just like throwing stuff at them. He like Captain America tries to Colonel America.
Which was
Actually, it's
weird.
Colonel,
Yeah.
which
I don't
I
know why it's Colonel. Because, like, in the Ultimate Universe, he's not Colonel America, right? That's just something for this.
yeah, yeah. I don't know because is a colonel higher than a cap? I don't know anything about the military, but
I'm gonna look it
I
up.
thought that was weird. I
Colonel
was like,
versus Captain. Which is
I
higher?
um
A colonel is a higher military rank than a captain in the U.S. Army. Interesting,
oh, so I guess he got promoted in
I
this one.
guess.
Um,
Not that it did much good.
but Magneto he goes, "Oh, good, you brought the shield," and he just cuts his head open with it, and then his brain is
Yeah.
hanging out for the rest of the book.
And then he also
There's a lot
uses
of
it
stuff like
to
that,
decapitate Hawkeye at some point. Where is it?
and
Or does he? Yeah,
he looks pretty cool holding Captain America's shield.
yeah.
It's very. I'm not against it. Um, but he's like running away. It seems like he's like gonna get away. He like brings down a whole building on the zombies, and he's like he stops to like talk to like trash talk them basically, and then the wasp flies in and she just bites him on the neck, and he's done. And
Yeah.
then the zombies are like, oh wait, save some of the meat for us because they're all like backstabby, like they can't
Yeah.
trust each other. They don't want to share the food. Um,
Yeah, the weird thing about these zombies is that they're like sentient and cognizant. Like they're not just, mindless. Like they're like, "Oh no, we want more,
mm.
save us this. Don't steal it all."
And
And
it's
they're talking about it. It's
like
really,
share a piece for me, like save me
yeah.
some. Like we can't tell them that we ate Magneto, or Iron Man's gonna be mad that we didn't bring any back for him. Like it's
Yeah.
interesting to do with zombies.
Hmm.
Um, so then they eat Magneto, and then they're all just like chilling. They're like, we're more normal now. They're like noticing all the different things about them. They're like, all right, our bodies stopped working. Like we ate, but we can't digest anything. Like what's going on? Like it feels like our brains are working. And then Spider-Man, he starts like freaking out, and then Luke Cage is like, here we go again, which is like a recurring thing with them,
Hmm.
which is pretty funny.
I like that they had a
Um,
relationship like between these two stories.
mhm. I like that. And it paid off pretty well in the end.
Hmm.
Um, but they're all just sitting in New York City, abandoned, just not digesting, just like letting the food sit in them, trying to figure out like what they're gonna do. And then the Silver Surfer like flies past, and they're like, "Whoa, what was that?"
Yeah.
Um,
So the gist of like the first book then is they they so I guess they devoured like all of Earth in like a matter of days is kind of how they clock it. And so now they see like, oh, what's this? And I guess in this world, Galactus and the Silver Surfer hadn't shown up to the Fantastic Four beforehand.
yeah, this is
So
a
so they attack
interesting
Silver
universe.
Surfer and they eat Silver Surfer and they get the power cosmic from Silver Surfer. And then while all this is going on, Hank's got T'Challa in the basement of his lab and he's like eating
Having a
parts of
snack.
T'Challa, having snacks. Wasp finds out. So another WTF moment from this miniseries. So Hank Pym gets a rap for beating Wasp and not being a good husband and being just not a great person. And then in this book, he not only like keeps T'Challa in a basement so he could like just cut off
Eat
pieces and
him.
keep him fresh. Wasp finds out and then he bites her head off to try and like kill her so that she can't tell anyone else.
He doesn't just bite her head off. He gets super gigantic and backhands her before he
Right.
bites her head off,
Yeah.
which is
He's
like
Hank Pym is just
interesting reference
just
to make.
yeah, he's just a class A person in this book. Real top of the line. So yeah, but eventually they bite Silver Surfer and they devour him. Galactus shows up and like demolishes them, but now they have the power cosmic, so they build a device to defeat Galactus. And then at some point while they're fighting Galactus, Black Panther escapes with the Wasp and they defeat Galactus, fight off some villains that are zombified that also want to eat Galactus, and they eat Galactus, get his powers, and they're able to fly off into space and devour other worlds. While Black Panther reunites with, I guess, some of Magneto's Brotherhood of
The
Mutants people,
acolytes.
the
Yeah.
Acolytes, on
They
Asteroid M.
they're a group of people led by Fabian Cortez.
Yeah,
He's
who is
annoying.
Fabian Cortez? Does he have like a
Um,
mutant name or anything?
no, his name is Fabian Cortez. His power is like he's not like Hope Summers, but he can like amplify people's powers.
Hmm.
Like so he can like boost other people. And he was Magneto's like lackey,
Hmm.
and then tried to kill him and started like a whole game where supervillains were trying to like kill like the young mutants for points,
Wow.
which is like,
Sounds like a really good person too.
yeah. And he killed his own sister, which is kind of crazy. Blew her up in a space station, I think.
There
So
we go. X-Men don't have good luck with
yeah,
space stations, come to
he's
think of
he's
it.
just kind of a piece of garbage.
Mm.
So
I mean, in this book, he helps the
he's
survivors.
pretty cool. He's pretty cool. But it is funny that Black Panther missing an arm and a leg beats up
Yeah.
like his whole entire team basically,
While also holding like the head of
with a
Wasp
severed head.
because he wants to like save her if he can because he considers her a friend. And the whole time she's just like, just let me have a taste.
So
Just let me
can
bite
I
you.
please just like just give me like a nibble, like, and he's like, can you stop? Like, no. Um, but yeah, so the zombies, they go out into space and they have like little Galactus outfits,
Yeah.
which was
And
kind of
after
cute.
and after 5 years, the Black Panther and the people on Asteroid M like land back on Earth, confirm that like the zombies are gone, and they restart civilization. Or at
Yeah,
least try to like survive because at that point there's like maybe, I don't know, 40 people total on Earth. Like it's a
yeah.
very low number. So,
Um,
yeah, that's pretty much the first series in a nutshell. And then the second series is what, Jared?
the second series, I'm sorry, I'm leafing through the omnibus, but this
Oh,
is
is there
why,
stuff in between 1 and 2?
yeah, there's so much stuff. It's like the ultimate, more ultimate Fantastic Four stuff with horrible
Oh, that would make
art.
sense because they say in this that like
They're in
the
another
zombie
dimension.
Fantastic Four
Yeah.
got away. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at these horrifying images. Greg
I will
Land
say the
art.
cover art really grossed me out for each single issue. It's like that, I don't know, oil painting,
Yeah.
what's it called, pastels, like style of recreating old Marvel comics but zombifying them.
But
I wasn't that impressed with the cover art.
yeah. There's there's the Black Panther stuff, and like that's where the Galactus zombies come in.
Yeah.
And
Oh, the
then
Galactus zombies show up in Black Panther?
yes, but I don't know, like I never read this and they don't really explain what's going on.
Hmm.
So I don't know if they're on Earth. I don't know if they're on another planet in another dimension because there's like scrolls and
I was gonna say because it's said in this series that they're like just flying around, going from planet to planet, eating everybody for like 40
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Because
But they
that's
like
where
come out of a wormhole. Well, actually,
yeah,
I think unclear. I think maybe they're in the Marvel Zombies universe on like the Skrull planet.
that would make sense. Like Black
I
Panther and
didn't read
Storm.
it. Yeah, and the Thing and the Human Torch, which is
Hmm.
I would read that team up. Sounds interesting.
Hmm.
It's a nice little mix of powers. Um, then you go to Marvel Zombies 2, which starts with a really funny image of them all just standing on an asteroid, and Giant Man's like, I can't believe we ate the whole thing.
Yeah, they ate the entire universe, is what they're saying.
And they
But
got like a new group, which doesn't make I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
I guess it makes sense for like who would get turned as opposed to getting devoured because they're harder to take out. But like, yeah, so
I don't understand. I don't
yeah, in the
know.
first book, the group
I have a
was
lot of
what?
questions.
It was Hank Pym, Colonel America, Iron Man. Like there were other Marvel heroes that were zombies, but like the core group
Let me
that
go
sticks
back
around,
800 pages.
yeah, it was Hank
Okay.
Pym,
It was Hank Pym,
Colonel
Luke
America,
Cage,
Iron Man, Luke Cage,
Colonel
Spider-Man.
America. He dies the
He dies in the first
in the
one.
Galactus fight.
Yeah.
Red Skull pulls his brain out,
Yeah.
which
And
is
then it's
kind of funny.
also Daredevil, but he also gets killed.
Hmm.
He gets killed by Galactus. And then Hulk, who is Hulk when he's hungry, but when after he eats, he turns back into Bruce Banner. Wasp and oh, and Wolverine. I think that's like the group.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, the
The
funny
ones
page.
who the ones who go into space are Giant Man, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine, and Luke Cage. I guess everybody else died.
Yeah.
Um,
And they all have like, their cyborg parts because they like lost limbs and stuff in the first series.
mhm. And then they're joined by Thanos, Gladiator, Dark Phoenix, and Fire Lord.
Yeah. And I
I
was like,
have a
"Oh,
lot of
Thanos is in
questions.
this." Not for long.
I have a lot of questions about the Phoenix part,
Well,
but
yeah, the most you get out of that backstory is she says like, "I was way too powerful for you guys to devour, so you had to turn me."
all of the X-Men stuff doesn't make any sense. And like timeline wise, like where like none of it makes sense with like the whole universe, but like
Yeah.
just in the X-Men, I was like, I can't figure out when this is supposed to be.
Hmm. Well, I guess it would be at some point that Jean's not on Earth, like she was out in space.
But I mean, she was dead. I don't know.
That's
It's
the
fine.
logic of Marvel Zombies.
I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, but Magneto's showing up, but right now he should be in charge of the school. What other students are at the school?
The X-Men fan in you is just there like, it doesn't make
In my
sense.
brain, I was like, and then they also have the acolytes, but the acolytes are from the 90s, and Kitty and Nightcrawler and Colossus are on the team from the 80s. It's too much. It was too much. Like that one page, I was looking at that page for a minute. I was like, then I just had to skip on. And the less that's said about Storm and Cyclops, the better. Um, so Hulk, he like pops Thanos' head and
Yeah,
calls him
he was not
Prune
in that
Chin.
book long.
He calls him Prune Chin, which is
Yeah, that was a good one.
there's a lot of really like funny lines in this book.
And that's Kirkman. That's like the Kirkman of it, I think. Like
It's like
he hadn't been writing Negan yet, but like Kirkman has some really good one-liners in like Invincible and even early Walking Dead.
as I was reading this, I was like, this is like Invincible meets The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like in the tone and absurdity.
Yeah.
Um, so on Earth, they established a new Wakanda because the X-Men fandom was happy because Forge made it,
Hmm.
who, funnily enough, Forge and T'Challa both dated Spain. Um, so
And their kids get married in this new
yeah,
Wakanda.
which is interesting. And then Forge makes a questionable choice. Um, so T'Challa is like the old king of Wakanda because it's he has like grandkids now. One of his grandkids finds Hawkeye's severed head, and it turns out that he also, with time from like not eating, he got over the hunger. So they're just like showing that to them. They're like, oh, look at this. This is great. Meanwhile, I like the little cutaways to space. It feels like I'm reading like it feels like Family Guy almost, just with how it's like.
Yeah, it's like surely we have nothing to worry about, and then it
m-
cuts away to like all the space
Meanwhile,
zombies
out in
like on their
space,
way back.
they're eating Ego, the living planet, and they're like, a living planet? How did we miss this the first time?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Which like to talk that out, that was another moment that I probably overanalyzed where I went, well, if he's a living planet and you're like biting him, would he be a zombified living planet before you finally devoured him?
That was what I thought, but I think if they eat enough of him, he would just die.
Sure.
Like they said that when they were getting when Mr. Fantastic was having them infect Iron Man, they were like,
Hmm.
don't bite him too much or he's
Because
gonna
then he'll
die.
die,
So
yeah.
I guess there's like a point of no return. So back on Earth, they're talking about like political drama with Fabian Cortez's son. So
Yeah, who
again,
wants to take
another reason
over.
why he's annoying.
Yeah.
Um, this stuff is kind of
Wasp has been
boring
attached to like a robot body,
to
her
like
head.
a sexy robot body.
Yeah,
The
that was
sexy
another thought
robot
I
body.
had.
I have to call out the sexy robot body because when they get Hawkeye's head, they put him on the same kind of body, so
Yeah.
he has like He has like metal boobs and like a women's waist.
Yeah, because that was like the
Um,
that was her body from like the end of the first miniseries. And yeah, it's like,
mhm.
yeah, this is just what we have lying around. And I was like, that's a
And
choice right there.
I guess when you get to the end, it makes sense why the bodies were designed that way.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah,
I think
Hawkeye was funny in the second
it
book
was
though,
funny.
where he's just the severed head and like the kid who finds him T'Challa's grandson is like, "You're not gonna bite me, are you?" And he goes, "No, I'm not. I just really want someone to talk to." And they even say when they get him like on the old body and everything and they're talking about him, and I forget if it's Forge or if it's what's his face, Reynolds, the one that was in love with Wasp and making the bodies for her. Yeah, I forget which one says it, but they're like, yeah, no, it's pretty clear there's been some cognitive decline here. He cries when we leave him alone. Like, uh, he's lost it a little bit.
Mhm.
So yeah,
I'm
they're
sorry.
dealing with,
I'm looking at
you're looking at the body.
I'm looking at him working on the Hawkeye body with one
One of
of
the
the
things
metal
taken
boobs
out,
taken
yeah,
off.
so he can work on the mechanics. Yeah,
And
I thought that
Wasp is
would,
like looking on the screen at the other one. I'm like,
yeah, because at the that was at the same moment that speaking of the politics, Fabian Cortez's son like orders one of the acolytes or acolyte followers, whatever, to kill T'Challa. So T'Challa gets stabbed, and to
he
save
gets
him,
him pretty good.
yeah, to save him, Wasp turns T'Challa. And so the idea is, I guess, if you that's where they make the discovery that like, yeah, Wasp was able to beat the hunger because she hadn't eaten anyone in like 45 years. But as soon as she tasted flesh, like it came back. And then
Mhm.
T'Challa also had it. So they had to like go into quarantine,
In
and
like this
that
big
was the
vault.
Family Guy cutaway of, listen, we'll just stay in here for a few weeks. The hunger will pass, then we don't have to worry. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Cutaway to space zombies
And
descending
Spider-Man's
to
like,
Earth.
"Are we there yet?"
Yeah, because they're heading to Earth to get Mr. Fantastic's dimensional portal so they can go to other universes and start picking them clean and eating them. So yeah, so then the second book is, it ends up being a fight to like protect this portal and the last bits of humanity, and Spider-Man and Luke Cage defect and help humanity because like they've gone long enough to no longer have the hunger. And you know, Civil War happens, the zombies start
Zombie
fighting
Civil
each other.
War. It's
Zombie Civil
Zombie Civil
War.
War.
And yeah, so like, I know T'Challa loses some limbs. They kill Gladiator. They have to kill Hulk because Hulk wasn't going to be able to stop eating, so they kill him as Bruce Banner. And so yeah, I feel like the second
But
book was really just fighting
before
over
they
humanity.
kill the Hulk, the, they spend a lot of time on this on like fighting with the zombie. But before
Yeah.
they kill the Hulk, you find out that they took the brains of Colonel America
What
and
WTF moment number whatever.
they put it in the body of T'Challa's son, of
Yeah.
Black Panther's son. So they like get outed T'Challa's son was
Who
my assessment of the situation. I was like, that's like Get Out, right?
Yeah, and it
Okay,
was it was
interesting.
said that T'Challa's son and daughter-in-law, so Forge's daughter, died in an accident, but I guess that was Fabian Cortez's son who killed him.
There he
Yeah,
is.
but like no matter how you spin it, because like yeah, it was Reynolds and Forge, like they're the ones that put Colonel America's brain in the body of the son, and T'Challa freaks out, and they're like, well, it was an experiment, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
At least ask or
Yeah.
do it with your daughter's body and not someone else's kid's body. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it
Um,
was wild.
mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so some of the zombies finally realize, oh, the hunger's gone, we don't have to eat people anymore. And they stop fighting after, a few zombies get killed and a few people. And then the book just ends with Fabian Cortez's son being like, I wouldn't want to go to another dimension. I want to rule people here. And he just sends the
yeah,
zombies
because
away.
he's one of those kinds of weirdos.
Yeah, he's like, why would
Yeah.
I go to
He
another
was
place
like
when I can rule here? I like it here.
he was like a manageable population, easy to rule, no outside threats,
And maybe he
except for
kills
you
Forge
guys.
or just beats him to a pulp.
Mm, I think he probably killed him.
Yeah. But I skimmed Marvel Zombies 3 to see like where
Marvel's
maybe they went, and they're not in that book at the start at all. So you
they are
said that there's a
in
book in between, like Reborn
Marvel
or something.
Zombies Return. I
Marvel
didn't
Zombies
read
Return.
this
I didn't read
because
it either.
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And the art is different. Like the art is different. It's a different writer. I was like,
Yeah. When we said we'd read this, I'm like, yeah, let's just stick to the Kirkman stuff.
but
Um,
from my assessment, from like skimming through this, like this is where the zombies get sent.
hmm.
It's a different Earth, and they start infecting people. Um, Somehow Wolverine and Kitty Pryde are in it. I'm skimming. But there's something with the Sentry getting
Okay.
turned into a zombie.
What?
Um,
Don't
because
tell
I
me they do
believe
like a
no,
flash
I
thing.
think it's like a time loop,
Yeah, I don't
like
like that. I don't like
because
that.
they send like I'm not reading all of this, but that's the Sentry going somewhere. So like
Oh my
is that
God.
him going to start it? So they like go to the other universe and create it, or
I don't like that. That's annoying.
and that's why we skipped it. But Marvel Zombies
So
3, I did
so it's
read
a
Marvel Zombies
multiversal
3.
paradox is what Marvel Zombies is. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But Marvel Zombies 3 was interesting.
I just saw Morbius was in it. I skimmed the
I
first
saw
issue. I saw Deadpool, I saw Morbius.
Jocasta and Machine Man.
Mm,
Interesting, interesting, interesting polls. Have you read Next Wave?
no.
Oh, Next Wave is good. Machine Man is in that. He's really funny. That's the only thing that I know him from. And that's where I discovered Monica Rambeau.
Oh, okay. Was she Photon, Spectrum, Captain
She
Marvel?
was I think she was Photon, but like Next Wave, it's like kind of like a comedy book. So like part of like her bit was like, I'm like too good for this. Like I used to be an Avenger. Like I used to
Hmm.
lead the Avengers. Like why are we fighting these like stupid things now? Like it's a funny book. It's a really funny book. But Machine Man is in that. He's really funny in that too.
So what did you
And then
think about the Marvel Zombies that we read overall? What were your
overall,
thoughts?
I like the first one. I like I like the one shot and the first one, but
Yep.
the second one, I don't know. I think
I
maybe it
think the
needed to be
time
like
jump and everything just kind of, and
longer.
like the cosmic stuff just kind of makes it a little more like, okay. Like, I gotta be honest, I felt nothing reading the second one. I was just kind of like,
Yeah,
all right, I'm just gonna get through this. The
because
first
it's
one,
like everything's already fallen, and
yeah.
like you know that
The
they're not gonna get it back.
the first one was at least a little fun because like you're learning how the zombies work and everything, and you're seeing them interact with each other. But still, I was reading, I'm just like, all right, so they're just trying to eat more people. Got it.
It's a
Um,
zombie movie.
yeah.
Like that's what it is. I was like, I
Even with
guess
the horror movie ending of like, like I always think about like the endings of like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street movies where it's always like a WTF ending that never gets brought up again in like the next movie. That's kind of what this one felt like until the sequel comes out and it's like, ah, no, they actually did eat the whole universe.
yeah, that's kind of crazy that they ate the whole universe, but they didn't make that many zombies.
Yeah. Which you would think like, the Guardians of the
Hmm.
Galaxy or other people might put up more of a fight.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck. What happened to him?
Hmm.
He was a
The
nice roast for
X-Men.
them. I don't know.
Um, Doctor Strange
Yeah. Yeah, he gets
played.
turned in Dead Days, but like never shows up again. And you would
He
think he would
shows
keep
up in
his
Marvel
magic in a
Zombies
powerhouse.
3.
Oh, he does?
Hmm.
Gotcha.
So does Ghost Rider.
There was
Um,
Zombie Ghost Rider was in the first book, which I thought was really weird because he's
mhm.
a skeleton spiritual demon.
Yeah. But I guess the guy got turned into a zombie.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing. Like I'm like, okay, so does zombification beat magical stuff, you know? Like
and
Wolverine's
I'm
healing factor
like
doesn't stop it.
Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah. And they that's the thing they bring up in the first book is that Wolverine loses his healing factor as a result of becoming a zombie.
And
Like
he tries to kill the Silver Surfer, and he swings his arm at him, and like the metal bones,
stops.
like they
Yeah.
hit the guy, and his arm just keeps going. So
Yeah.
like he rips like
Meat falls
his
right off
arm
the
out of
bone.
the bone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I guess I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, and it's funny. It is a funny moment where he's like, I guess without the adam without ligaments, this just kind of falls apart. You just see like his bones just like all the
Just like
adamantium just
falling apart.
drop.
He
Yeah.
just goes like that, and the claws just like sprinkle out.
Wild. This book was just I was reading it and there was one thing I found really cool, and I took screenshots of like the splash pages and stuff, but because obviously I'm thinking about like Robert Kirkman wrote The Walking Dead. Like while
Yeah.
this book is going on, he's writing The Walking Dead. And something I found cool was, in The Walking Dead, like they have that big splash page of like the zombies eating someone,
Mhm.
like at the governor's place. And they do that in this
They do
book,
that a
which
lot. Yeah.
I did find that cool. They do it when they eat Magneto and they do it when they ate Galactus. And I was like, all right, that's a cool nod to, because obviously The Walking Dead. Actually, I'm gonna look up where they were in The Walking Dead when like this first issue came out because they had to be I would want to say they're probably like early at the prison because this book started in December of 2005.
The vibes, I that was something that I was thinking of as I was reading this. I was like, where in The Walking Dead is this? But as I was reading it, I was like, it has to be the prison because this reminds me of a lot of that stuff, like the prison in Woodbury stuff.
Yeah, the disturbing stuff in The Walking
Hmm.
Dead.
Like, what was it? Like the serial killer who like kills like Herschel's daughters. Like,
Yeah, the I forgot that guy's name. It was like Albert or something. Um,
yeah, that was.
so when the first issue of this came out, yeah, so funny story, because I'm pretty sure Walking Dead 24 was the issue. Um, the first issue of Marvel Zombies came out uh just like 2 or 3 weeks after the issue of The Walking Dead where Rick gives his whole speech at the prison saying we are the Walking Dead. So
Mm,
after that big moment in the series, we got Marvel Zombies #1. And then if I
wow.
want to go deep, the last issue of Marvel Zombies 2 was February of 2008, which that came out that came out around the time that Tyrese got killed by the governor. So it came out in the middle of
Mhm.
the No One is Safe arc. I forget what it's called. I think it's No One's Safe.
That tracks. Yeah. It's very prison Woodbury
Yeah.
invincible kind of vibes
Yeah,
with
I'm
like
gonna say
people just
Walking
getting
Dead and Invincible are
blown
better.
open. Definitely better, but I don't know.
What did you
I might
like
have to
about this
revisit
book?
this. I like well,
Or these miniseries in one shot?
I liked the one shot and the first one.
Hmm.
I think like the new Wakanda stuff wasn't interesting at all, but
Yeah.
I feel like it was important, but I think that should have been like Marvel Zombies 3, like sending them
Hmm.
to another universe. Like I feel like there was a lot. Like you probably needed another
Need
thing.
something in
But
between, like maybe a mini series of them flying around the galaxy, devouring people,
mhm,
like fighting the Guardians of the Galaxy or the Nova Corps or something.
yeah, that would be nice. Um, I do love zombies overall in general, so I'm like, I had a great time. I had a great time reading it. Um, but I think that it's interesting to see like what would like a zombie apocalypse be like if they also had superpowers.
Hmm.
Because like that's like the only reason why it got so bad.
Yeah. And that's kind of
If
like, I gotta be honest, if we were to compare, I think DC did a better job with, what if our universe got zombified? Like Deceased, I think, is like one of the greatest, like Elseworld. Well, not maybe one of the greatest, but it's like a very interesting Elseworld story and like how it
mhm,
all comes about. I still have to finish the last chapter of it, but like Deceased, the tie-ins in between Deceased and the second one, Deceased Dead Planet, they're like Deceased Unkillables and like another one shot or two. Like all that stuff was like really good and like I was interested like week to month reading those. And then I was
mhm.
reading this, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Would you have read this month to month if you
No,
had to buy it?
no, no, I definitely wouldn't have.
That's fair.
I think because
That's
you know
fair.
what? That's kind of my reaction to I have one I think I could compare. Avengers versus Aliens came out in
I
like
want to read that. I want to
September,
read that. I love
October.
Alien.
Yeah, I skimmed the first issue and just went, yeah, no, I'm good. It's Jonathan Hickman and I think Assad Ribic, which is like the creative team of Secret Wars, which I still haven't read Secret Wars because I want to do my whole binge leading up to it. But that made it sound like it's going to be really good. And then I skimmed the first issue and just went, yeah, no, I don't need to read this. I'm okay. Like they also do a time jump where it's set like 50, 60 years into the future after like society has kind of fallen thanks to the xenomorphs and stuff. And yeah,
Interesting.
Deceased is good though. I like Deceased.
Interesting.
Um
Okay. Aliens versus Avengers. I'm gonna
yeah,
have to
it's gonna
check it
be like
out.
a four-issue miniseries, although the issues have been releasing very spread out from each other. I think like issue two came out 3 or 4 months after issue one. Avengers versus Aliens. Here we go.
Damn, that means it's not on.
It's not Marvel. Actually, I think the first issue is on Marvel Unlimited.
I
Uh,
will wait for the whole thing.
First issue came out August 2024. The next issue was November 2024, and issue three is coming out um on in February, which maybe this is only so the trade paperback has been announced for August 2025, but no issue four has been released. Or announced. I'm pretty sure issue four, it's a four issue. Um, but yeah, after Marvel Zombies, I'm like, do I really need to read something like Avengers versus Aliens? Probably not.
It's okay. I'll read it
Yeah.
for you. I'll tell you if you need to read it.
So what else did you
Um,
like about Marvel Zombies?
I like the art. The art reminded me a lot of The Walking Dead. Um,
Hmm. The teeth, especially. They
the
get really
teeth,
grotesque.
the faces, like the
The eyes, very blank eyes.
like if it was in black and white, I probably would have thought it was The Walking Dead. Like
Hmm.
same artist. Um, I like all of the one-liners. Like
Yeah.
all of that stuff is really funny.
I liked
Um,
I like Tony when they're like trying to hide the secret from him about them eating Magneto and they like make this agreement like oh yeah we're gonna say that like a gas main blew up and vaporized him so unfortunately there was nothing left to eat and Tony is just like uh-huh hey Peter how do you feel about your aunt and wife and then Peter's all like oh no why would you bring that up I ate them and then Tony's just there like, I knew it. You guys ate because Peter only gets upset and annoying after eating. And he goes, also, Banner is around instead of the Hulk, which means he ate. And he goes, you guys totally ate and didn't bring anything back. I think stuff like that was
yeah.
funny. I will say though, the Hank Pym Black Panther stuff also was just like if you have a really
Gruesome.
dark sense of humor, I think you could
Gruesome.
maybe because like the way he talks about it, like, oh, I guess you're waking up a bit. Guess I'll have to apply a little more sedation here. I'm just like, Hank Pym is
Oof.
unhinged in these books.
And it's like, that's your friend.
Yeah. And
Like,
and that's what bothered me about Dead Days was like I thought it was maybe like zombie Hank Pym found Black Panther and knocked him out. No, he did it when he was still human, before he
but
had
that's
turned.
why it's just like a zombie movie. People start doing things that are totally irrational. They worship zombies. It's like the second coming or whatever.
Yeah.
They try to infect everybody else. When you look at it that way, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed it more, but only the first one.
Well,
I
that's
have to stress that. The second
I've
one,
read like similar, I guess, Elseworld stories. Like I read both like Night of the Living Deadpools, which is like Deadpool in the zombie apocalypse after like everything's been taken over. And I remember enjoying those two. I remember the second one's a lot stupider though, because in the second one, like people are getting bit and they turn into Deadpools. Like it's like a weird
mm,
thing. Like the first book is Deadpool versus zombies, and the second book is if you get bit by a Deadpool who maybe got bit by a zombie, you become a Deadpool. I don't remember the whole thing. And then also I read like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, which is like another one of those we're
mm,
wiping the slate clean type things. And I was just reading this. I didn't really feel anything. I was just like, okay, this is this
mhm.
is a book that I'm reading.
Yeah. I will say one other thing that I liked about it is very different kind of zombie.
Yes.
That was probably the most interesting part. I think it would have been more interesting if maybe they never went back to Earth and just focused on the zombie stuff.
Hmm.
And I also don't understand how they didn't notice them in the atmosphere on the asteroid
Mm.
when they went into space.
Yeah.
But
Well, I guess if they had the power of cosmic, they did say like they could go at like lightning speed with their flight because like Captain America was getting like materials from vibranium. And he goes, "Wow, that went really quick." So who knows? Maybe. But I also like their detection systems where like they were looking for movement when they landed of like anyone trying to converge on them. And they said nothing's coming at us, so I think we're good. So I also guess that's how they didn't pick up on Hawkeye's head. That was another thought I had,
mm,
like you didn't find Hawkeye's head earlier than 50 years?
huh. Yeah, yeah, it was interesting.
What
I
did you
did.
dislike about the book?
What did I dislike? Most of the sec, not most of the second one. I just didn't really care for the second one. The second
Anything from
one,
the first book?
the first book, X-Men opinions aside, because
You go on for
I
hours
could
just
go
saying how
on.
this isn't
Um,
accurate to the X-Men.
and it also just doesn't make any sense because like at least based off the powers that they have, I was like,
Hmm.
none of you should get bit,
Yeah.
right?
Colossus
How
especially.
did Kitty Pryde get bit when
Mm.
you can't even touch her? In one of the other Marvel Zombie stories, I think in the Marvel Zombies Return story, there's like another alternate universe Kitty Pryde and like somebody somebody with like Green Lantern powers or something. They just like put her in a bubble and they just put her underwater.
Hmm.
So she has to like become solid when she runs out of air, and then they let Namor eat her.
Yeah.
So
Creepy.
I guess maybe that happened, but a lot of stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, but what else did I dislike? I guess I disliked them not, or the fact that they even brought up the fact that like Magneto introduced it. Like, I don't think that
Yeah,
was
it wasn't
necessary at
clear, but
all.
now if you're saying that there was a time loop sentry thing, it's
But
like, okay.
I'll have to go through and read again, but I don't even think they really because I didn't really see any like Magneto when I was skimming.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think it I think it like something must have like started it originally and then they sent it to another universe and then it came back.
I don't
Do
want
you
to
know what
have
I
to think
mean?
about it that
Like
much.
something where like it is a loop, but like
Just say Reed Richards was being
something would have had to
stupid in a
start the
lab.
loop. Yeah,
Say,
like I don't
say
think they
he
should
was
have
being
explained it at
dumb.
all. Hmm.
Ugh.
And that's why you don't need to read
I'm trying to think of
most
some
of this.
trying to think of some other WTF moments.
Hold
Hank biting
on.
off the wasp head, we said. We talked about Black Panther being treated as a snack by Hank Pym.
It was
Um,
pretty funny that right after they ate the Silver Surfer, Galactus showed up and he's like, "I'm here to eat the planet.
yeah, and they're like, "We want to eat
Where's
you.
my
We're
guy?"
hungry."
He's like,
Yeah,
"Where's my guy?" And they're like,
I
"We ate
found
him."
it. I found it so funny that they're like, "Oh, we now have plenty of food to fight off the hunger." And it's Galactus gets like offended. He goes, "Hunger? You hunger?" Like it's almost like he's
He
like,
just starts
"That's
blowing
my
them up.
thing." And
Yeah.
like he seems visibly like annoyed. He's like, "That no, I hunger. You don't hunger. I hunger."
Yeah. I liked oh no, I lost it. I liked when like when the Silver Surfer showed up and he was like explaining them like his whole deal.
Yeah,
They were like, "What is he talking about?
yeah.
I don't know."
Attack him.
But get him. Like like I want the first piece. Like
Yeah, and Hulk bites
that
his head
stuff was
off.
just really funny. And he like explodes like energy out of him.
Hmm.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Um, hmm, what else? Um, there's too many. There's too many. Or like it's just there's like visual things. Like Spider-Man, like in the first one, like his leg is like hanging on by like the muscle, basically, like
Yeah, and he
and
finally rips
they
it
keep
off,
telling
being
him
like,
like
"This is just holding me back."
he keeps going like, "Do you think it's gonna heal?" Like, and they're like, "No." Like we're like Daredevil's like, "I don't know why my ankles are so swollen," and they're like, "Well, if our bodies aren't working, like all the blood is just pooling in our ankles. Like,
Yeah, because
should I
he got
drain
like
them?"
Magneto put like a piece of whatever steel from a construction site through him, which took out his heart. So Tony's like, "Yeah, no, the heart that you had is no longer pumping any blood, so it's now just pooling in your legs."
Because of gravity. Like
Yeah,
all that
Daredevil
stuff
gets
was
what?
funny.
Vaporized by Galactus, right? I think
I
that's how
think
he gets
so.
killed.
I think the funniest one was Captain America, though. Like Red Skull just they're like
Yeah,
grappling each other on the ground, and he just yanks it out of his
yanks
head,
his brain
and he
out.
just like falls over.
Which, like, yeah, they say they're like, I don't know if we can die, and it's like, maybe our
And he
brain has to be
didn't
destroyed. And Captain America
die,
goes, maybe I want to rethink that because my head just got cut in half and
and
I'm
he's like holding
fine.
half of it.
Yeah. Who wound up being
Yeah,
your favorite character between the books we read?
my favorite. I would say, hmm, maybe, maybe either like Luke Cage or Wasp,
Hmm.
because Luke Cage just being like he's like done with Spider-Man complaining. There was one part I have to scroll back and find it. Oh, when they were like on the way back and they were talking, and like Spider-Man was talking about how like he's like, oh, like I like make jokes because whatever, blah blah blah. And then Luke Cage he goes, yeah, it's like me being so handsome. They're like, how can he be so handsome fighting all this crime? It's a distraction. Um,
Yeah, that was one of those lines
that
I
was
was
really
just like, all
funny.
right, Luke.
I was like, okay, okay, you're one of the good ones.
Hmm.
Um, and he was because he was the only other good zombie. Hmm. Another WTF moment was that old guy and Wasp making out.
Yeah, that was weird.
Horrifying.
She
But
doesn't have lips. And
the
also, I
fu-
was like, is this guy gonna turn now?
the funniest thing is Forge's
Him,
face.
yeah, them yelling at Forge Luke Cage. What?
They're looking at them like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because it's a I don't even want to think about it, but
Yeah, no.
it's a rotting mouth.
Well, that was the thing at Dead Days was like, when Reed turns Sue and the rest of the Fantastic Four into zombies, like she's immediately like getting pissed off at Reed and everything, being like, these things ate our children. And he goes, yeah, but I'm actually happy that they'll be spared, being in this world. Because, from what I see, we're not even gonna have to, reproduce or anything once we're these things. We're just gonna live forever. It's gonna be great. It's like, okay.
Crazy, crazy. But I am slightly more interested in reading Ultimate Fantastic Four now.
Yeah, me too, a
Just
little bit.
just because I don't I don't want to see the art, but I I think like that version of the Invisible Woman becomes like Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, okay.
Because like you know how like they do like Ultimatum and it like destroys like basically all of the books except like
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I don't know much about it. I just started reading Ultimate Spider-Man for a different episode. Um,
Ah,
well, actually, I read it a while back, but like I read the first 13 issues, so I got up to where Mary Jane finds out Peter's Spider-Man. So,
mhm,
as part of this binge that I do want to get back to after I finish Invincible of because I only have like 20 issues left of Invincible. I just finished spoilers for people who care about Invincible if you're watching the show. Um, I just got up to the part where Mark and Eve leave Earth after Robot has taken over. Um, the robot stuff
mhm.
had my jaw drop.
Interest,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He really goes for it.
Yeah, and so I want to get back to that binge, and I would like to be able to read Ultimate Spider-Man so that I can get up to like the Miles stuff right where they get to Secret Wars and everything. Um,
Oh, that
but
stuff
yeah,
was good.
yeah. So yeah, I think my favorite character, ironically, uh, because like I'll say it was my favorite character to hate and root against was Hank Pym, because he is the leader in this book of like the zombies. He's calling all the shots, and he's just doing the most horrendous things. And like I kept following him closely in the books, and I just wanted him to get killed. And I
Mm,
really thought he was going to get killed in the sequel series after like Spider-Man blasts part of his head off and all of this stuff. And then he just doesn't. I was annoyed he didn't get killed because like he, I wouldn't say he's my favorite character, but he's the one that stood out to me the most. And I was just there like I want you to be punished, and it just
mm.
never happens. He's like, actually, I'm not hungry anymore. And there's that funny splash page in like the second series, like the final issue, where he's like, I'm not hungry
Where
anymore.
he's like picking somebody up about to eat them, and he just stops,
Yeah. And he's
and they're
like,
like, "What?"
yeah, and he finally has his like come to God moment of like, oh, we've done some bad things, haven't we? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was interesting. I think I I also enjoyed Hank Pym. I don't really know anything about him. The only Ant-Man I know is
Scott Lang.
yeah, and I haven't even seen any of the Ant-Man movies. So
Really? You have seen them?
Civil War, Infinity War.
The first
Is he
Ant-Man's
in
really good.
Endgame?
The second one is okay, and the third one I don't care for.
The third one looked like the third Spy Kids to me, but like the bad parts. So
Yeah, it was
I
Spy
just
Kids
couldn't do it.
3D,
Yep.
the game world.
Hmm.
So what would you narrow down as your favorite piece of dialogue or your favorite moment?
Um, actually, I have a bookmark. I liked Thor in the Dead Days. one shot, but then he doesn't really do anything after.
Yeah.
Um, I like I like in the beginning when they're like fighting all of the zombies and Colonel America's like, you don't understand, we tried to fight it. We did. Like we just can't, like this
We
is who we
have to
are, like
do
there's
this. We
nothing we
have
can
no
do.
choice.
And Thor is like
He just yells.
blasting off Black Knight's jaw. He's like, we don't care.
Yeah, he just yells it. We don't care.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Um, I guess if I had to pick one, it's probably that because
The
it's
big
very
splash page and everything.
memorable. There were a lot of nice splash pages, but I think that one was probably my favorite.
Yeah, one moment just off the top of my head. I don't know if it's my favorite moment, but like after like Hulk eats and turns back into Banner, he like devoured all the bones of Magneto. And
And
so
it's
he's like,
like,
"Oh no. Oh no." And it like just
oh,
turns ever so
it's
slightly and bursts out of him because like it just doesn't fit in his stomach.
yeah,
Lot of
nasty.
lot of interesting things in
Yeah,
this
it's
book.
very like obviously very graphic.
Very body horror. Yeah.
Like there's like little kids getting eaten and stuff. So
Hmm.
if that's not something, but like it's a zombie book, so
So what would you rate it out of 10? But these two books and the Dead Days combined.
combined, um, I think that would bring the rating down. But all in all, I would say probably like a five. But to expand on that more, I've seen like having watched a lot of zombie movies and like they're never really like that great. I think
Hmm.
a five is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Um, if I had to rank it against like The Walking Dead, if The Walking Dead was
That
like a
was gonna be my
10,
next question. What's how does it compare to The Walking Dead?
if The Walking Dead is a 10, or I guess I would put The Walking Dead as like an 8 on my personal scale.
Hmm.
So compared to that, I would probably put it at like maybe like a 2 or a 3, but
I was gonna
I
say on its own for
I
me, this
think
book's
that's
like a
the
4 or 5.
average. Yeah.
Yeah. This book on its own is like a 4 or 5 for me. Compared to The Walking Dead, it's a 1 or a 2.
Hmm. Yeah, it's fun. I
It's not
hope that
Kirkman's finest work.
yeah, like I think I kind of wish they didn't make like Marvel Zombies Return 3,
Two,
4,
three,
5,
five,
Supreme,
Reborn.
blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
I think if they just ended it in two, like if they killed them or figured out like a permanent solution, that would have been nice.
Hmm.
I think I would have enjoyed the second one more because it at least like closes the book, so to speak. But um, that being said, I do like Marvel Zombies 3.
Hmm.
The
I
third
haven't
one is
read it.
pretty fun. It's two robots. It's Machine Man and Jocasta from the
Hmm.
Avengers, who's like an Ultron robot, I think. Um, they go to the Marvel Zombies universe to get like a blood sample from somebody because somehow a zombie Deadpool got into the main universe and was like he's like doing things, so they're trying to trace. They're like, we have to go where he came from to like
Hmm.
create a vaccine, basically. Um, I don't know what organization it is, but it's being run by Morbius, who's like the head of science or whatever, you know.
So it's probably
Um,
like AIM or
it's like
the the
armor, I
one from.
think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what armor stands for, but
I was
it's
thinking the only one that came to mind was like the Life Foundation, like the symbiote one. Um,
um so yeah, it's just two robots killing a bunch of zombies. There's a zombie Kingpin in it. There's a
hmm.
zombie Doctor Strange. There's a zombie Ghost Rider, because um, Machine Man chops his head off and steals his motorcycle, which is pretty cool. Um, it's not that good, but it's like cool.
I
These
see
robots are just
I
like
see patterns
mowing
with
them
you,
all down.
Jared. You love Marvel
Yeah, I
Zombies
like
3. You love the
schlock.
Van Helsing movie.
I like schlock. I would call
Mm.
it schlock. It's not high art, but it's fun. It's
Now,
fun.
did you watch the first season of What If with the Marvel Zombies episode?
I did, and I thought it was really bad.
You didn't like the Marvel Zombies episode?
Not really, because it's like I don't know. I didn't care for the show
Yeah.
overall with like the Disney animation. Like I don't know. And aren't they making like an actual Marvel Zombies show?
So that's what I meant at the beginning with the adaptations. They have greenlit a Marvel Zombie show.
I want them to do Dead Days on the first one.
Well, I think it's
That
spinning
would be
off of
fun.
that Marvel Zombies episode
Damn
from
it.
What If.
Damn
Because
it.
artwork was like shown at one convention. I forget if it was like D23 or Comic-Con San Diego. Um, but the roster for this Marvel Zombies show, are you ready for this one? It's Yelena Belova,
Okay.
Kate Bishop, Jimmy Woo, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel,
Oh,
the assassin ninja person from Shang-Chi, the one with the mask. Um,
I saw the trailer, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
oh, Shang-Chi's amazing. Red Guardian and
Hmm.
Shang-Chi's friend. I forgot her name, but
Aquafina.
the one played by Awkwafina, yeah. That's that's
That's
the
like,
roster. Phase 4 Marvel.
no, Monica Rambeau. Okay.
Nope. That's what they've shown in concept art or something.
No.
Um, one thing I was
Black
surprised.
Panther.
That was one thing I
Damn.
was surprised to know from the What If episode. I guess, Black Panther being saved to like feed a zombie was pulled from the comic because like in the show, Vision keeps Black Panther alive and
Oh
feeds
yeah, for
parts of him to
Wanda.
Wanda.
Right. Oh. Maybe I'll go revisit that. That might just become my new favorite episode of
I
that
think I'm gonna
show.
watch it after this we finish recording to be like, how does it
Hmm.
hold up and compare? Because like I remember the story beats, like Wasp is in it. So's Captain
Different
America.
Wasp.
Yeah, Hope. Um, and then what you call it? Uh, who else is like this? Oh, so similar to Wasp head going on like a robot, like Ant-Man's head is just like in a
It's
jar.
just a head, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also in Marvel Zombies 3, you find out that Vision is like hooked up to some kind of machine in the Kingpin's thing, and they use him to like block the communications between the robots because they get separated, and
Hmm.
it cuts to they're like, how are they blocking our communications? It cuts to Vision in the thing, and Wanda's talking to him, and she's like, thank you for like doing whatever he did to jam it, and he's like, can I please get a kiss? And she's like, no, I have a headache.
Oh my God. That's that's some A tier writing right there.
It's it's no Robert Kirkman, but it's a pretty fun read.
Well, even the Robert Kirkman Marvel Zombies, I was just like, okay.
It's
I felt nothing. Much
I
much like
felt
the zombies, I felt nothing.
I just had a lot of questions. I was like, damn, not a single. Well, I guess Forge made it,
Hmm.
but
And
it's
Wolverine got
Forge.
zombified, yeah.
Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops. Um, those were the only ones in it.
Yeah.
Jean, Forge, my new favorite.
So you got any other thoughts on Marvel Zombies? Any parting thoughts?
Parting thoughts. Um, I need them to scrap whatever they have planned for the show and just or do a version of the Dead Days and the first one.
You just want to
Um,
see like Tom
you
Holland's
can do it with
Peter.
the MCU characters, like that's
You just want to
fine,
see
but
Tom
like just
Holland's
do
Peter eat
this.
Aunt May.
I don't want him to eat Zendaya. I don't know if I feel like that's a lot. And I
They'll
also
probably,
like
if they were to do in the MCU, they'd probably have him eat Ned.
yeah,
I could see that happening.
do a fat joke. Um, I don't know. I don't have very high hopes for this show
I don't even
because
know what's coming out.
I
There
want
hasn't been
it to
much word on it.
be I want to see like heads exploding, like gore if you're gonna
Hmm.
make it. And if Disney's making it to go on Disney Plus, I don't think it's gonna have what I'm looking for in a zombie show.
Hmm. Well, I guess we'll have to see when it comes out, and then maybe we'll get, Marvel Zombies, Dead City, Marvel Zombies, Daryl Dixon, Marvel Zombies, The Ones Who Live. We'll get plenty of spinoffs.
Well, I have a lot of them right here. I have a lot of them. Um, I have to go learn who Jack of Hearts is because he's the main character of one of these.
Oh, really?
Marvel Zombie Supreme, I
Jack
think.
of Hearts. So he shows up in like the recent She-Hulk run as like She-Hulk's boyfriend. Um,
Oh,
and so what
okay.
I know of his story is Jack of Hearts was like either an 80s or a 90s like Avengers team member, and he's got like radioactive powers.
Hmm.
And like as his existence continued, like they became more unstable. So eventually he just flies up into space to explode. Um, and he does
Oh.
explode, from what I understand, uh, which is part of the reason how Avengers Disassembled kicks off because like zombified Jack of Hearts returns outside Avengers Mansion, and the Avengers are like, "Oh my God, Jack, you're back! Like, what happened?" And then he just blows up again.
He, he does his special move. Look, they have him blowing up right here.
Yep. Jack of Hearts is like the Captain Atom of Marvel, I guess, where like he just blows up in stories.
His suit gets breached and he's gotta explode.
Yep. What did you
Oh
just
my
turn
God.
to?
Um, this guy was a zombie and kind of
Ew.
like Mr. Fantastic, just ate that woman
Ugh.
like a snake. And
I don't like that.
wait, do you want to see the worst part?
Sure. Might as well. We're already in.
I don't know if you might have to you might have to
I'll
blur
blur
this
it
for
out.
your video, but like he ate a lot of people.
Oh, that's fine. Ugh.
I
Ugh.
don't know.
I don't like that.
Looking at it up close, you see a lot of like outlines of people's faces. It's kind of
Ugh.
crazy.
All right,
But
well, on that fun note, thank you once
never
again
gonna
for
see that
visiting.
in the Disney Plus show, unfortunately.
Thank you once again for visiting your local comic shop. If you like today's discussion, please feel free to check out other episodes we've done. All episodes of the podcast are available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud, with new episodes dropping every Monday at midnight. Please feel free to subscribe to the show and follow my socials at Local Comic Sean for clips, what we're reading in the future, and more fun. If you'd like to support the show, I encourage you to subscribe to our Patreon to gain behind the scenes access to content and other resources for both reading and digital creation. Thank you so much again for visiting, and I'll see you the next time. Any outro words, Jared?
Bye.
Bye.
That's it. That's it. I don't have an outro.